This may seem like very basic and even stupidly simple advice, but the most straightforward way to become an entrepreneur or embody an entrepreneurial spirit is to become obsessed with other people's problems. As humans, I believe that we are already very fixated with problems and recognizing them, because I'm sure we all have our own and we have a lot of them. Most of the time, we're focused on our own internal problems that we deal with every day, paying for rent, paying the electricity bills, whatever relationship problem you have going on, or, you're lonely and you don't have friends, you haven't gone to the gym in a year. There are so many different problems that we experience and deal with on our own. It's hard to look externally to even worry about somebody else's problems. And why would you even want to worry about somebody's problems who aren't you? At a default state, we do problem solve, each and every one of us. If you're making money to pay your bills, to a degree, you're problem solving. You're solving your own problems of, hey, I have rent coming up, or I have to pay for groceries, so I have to find a job and I have to get paid for work that I'm doing. Trade my time for money, and I'll be able to pay for my living expenses. That's a very basic level of problem solving, and one that focuses internally on you being the benefiter of that solution. And if you think about it to a different level, if you have a job, you are problem solving, but for somebody else. An employer has the problem, hey, we need a new analyst to develop some systems or write some code or sell some products. This business has a need, and by you interviewing for that position, accepting the job, you are solving your boss's problem by doing the job that they hired you to perform. So in a roundabout way, you are being an entrepreneur, because the base level of an entrepreneur is identifying a problem and solving it. So even if you have a full-time job and you're a 9-to-5 employee, that doesn't necessarily exclude you from embodying the entrepreneurial spirit. And it's just a shift in perspective that can make you understand and realize, even though I make a paycheck or I have an hourly wage, I am an entrepreneur because I am solving a problem that has been brought to me. The only difference is, if you're just doing what somebody else is asking you to do, you have very limited leverage in that situation, hence being paid an hourly wage or a yearly salary that is capped specifically to the number that the person who hired you set. Whereas if you go and start your own thing, or you have a side business or whatever, and you are making the decisions on what problems to solve, that is where you have the leverage. And it really depends on how big of a problem that you're solving, or how many people's problems you can solve. If you think about money as a representation of the value you're providing others in the form of solving their problems, in that trade of, hey, I'll pay you money for you to solve my problem, whether that problem is I want plants for my room, or I need a chair to sit on, or I need a TV to entertain myself after work. Those are problems that people have, and if you're willing to provide a solution, it really just comes back to how big of a problem are you solving. If the problem is something very small, like I need to make toast and I need a slice of bread, you're probably not going to get paid too much for that. But if your problem is something massive, like I need to build a house, and if you can provide those services to either broker a house deal, or you can hire a construction company who can build this house, you will be paid a handsome amount to solve that problem. Now, the other part of that equation is the number of people that you can affect with the problem that you're trying to solve. So, if you can build a house for one person, that's probably not going to make you as much money as building a house for 1 million people. Even if you do it to a different degree, if you are selling one pen to someone, you're probably not going to make that much money off of that. But if you can sell pens to 500 million people, or you can sell them in large quantities to big box retailers like Walmart or Staples or Office Max or something like that, you create a level of scale to the problem that you're solving. So the way to shift your perspective in thinking of yourself as an entrepreneur, no matter what your current state is to think about other people's problems, how can you solve them creatively, and what do you have to offer that is better than the alternative. It's a very simple framework, and I think it boils down entrepreneurship to its base case, where even a person working a 9-to-5 job, earning a W-2, they can think of themselves as an entrepreneur in a certain light and take the skills that they're using in their everyday job to think about how to apply their skills to a problem that exists in the marketplace or just in the world, or something that they're experiencing. And by obsessing about other people's problems and figuring out how you can apply your own skills to solve those problems, that is the simplest way to become an entrepreneur. And it doesn't require anything groundbreaking. You don't have to come up with the next big hit out of thin air. And I think in reality, most of us don't really have that creative juice in us to be able to think of the next thing. Like, how are we gonna make a flying car or something like that, right? The problem that you're solving doesn't have to be to that degree. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can simply take a problem that exists today, figure out what is already being offered to fix that problem, and identify a way to iterate on that to offer something better, or just do it in a different way, in a more creative way, a more efficient way, something to make it better for the end person whose problem you're trying to solve. So at the end of the day, the simple elements of entrepreneurship involve identifying a problem and solving that problem for somebody else. So that's the main message and takeaway for the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.